In short order, postmodern critical theory arose from the grave and became the prevailing ideology of division, leading the charge to destroy America with such surgical precision that it makes Marxism look like a kid with a Nerf gun. By bringing the war of violence and vengeance into race and gender, these new fans of critical theory were able to do what Marx could not. It is not the oppression from corrupt clerics and monarchs. It is not the oppression from capitalists and bourgeoisie. It is the ubiquity of oppression, exactly as David just described. That is all there is. It's more all-pervasive than air itself. That is all there is, power and oppression. Born white, born male, born heterosexual, born able. This is an oppressive category, isn't it? It's on the upper side of the chart, and I don't know where it would fit into the multicolored kaleidoscopic chart. Who decides? My feelings decide. There is not even a ground of rational explanation needed. In fact, rational discourse, again I'm repeating, David, rational discourse is a form of racism, correct? Good. At last I'm a racist, usually I'm on the other side of the... Okay. So where do the binary options that we've been discussing and I've been presenting so far fit in with this new and perfected forms of anti-human and anti-America agents? The rejection of God dealt with inner life, the French Enlightenment, rationalism, human reason was placed above God and faith. The second rejection of God placed matter above God and human beings. Wokeism is the full flowering of both of these evils, resulting in the complete ruination of the ground of being human, of human decency. Wokeism attacks both spiritual life and physical life. The lodestone for today's war against hopeful life is a war against identity. Identity. Do you identify with your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings? Do you? Yes, you do. We do. That's me. My thoughts, feelings, opinions is me. Do you identify with your body? Yes, we do. We try to look nice, we look in the mirror, we wash our face. Our body is an important part of who we are. That's the completeness of ourselves. Our spiritual side and our physical side. That's me. So the woke revolution as an attack on identity is the full flowering of the Enlightenment that we learned about from David, and the full flowering of the Marxist revolution, which is on the physical side, on the survival, the means of production. So it is a war against identity. And by now we know the options. We've seen them again and again. The anti-God option results in tyranny and genocide. And the pro-affirmation of that which is the simple notion of we're created, as the founders accurately declared as an axiom, is the positive side. The bitter invasion of woke ideology is an attack on our whole being. The attack is total. The enemies of wokeism are no longer a selective, small, abusive class. We are no longer to be exterminated for anything we've done. We are to be exterminated for how we were born. Our identity is evil. Born white, born male, born heterosexual. Just being who you are is your crime. And to deny your crime, again as David said, is proof of your guilt. The French and Russian revolutions were directed at oppressive political systems. The woke revolution focuses on the destruction of culture and human relations. You can't speak. The identity politics, standpoint theory, it destroys culture and human relations, not political systems, not economic systems. It focuses on you personally, you. personally. The source of evil in the world is your existence, not what anything you've done. Even though this seems to be checkmate, it feels like checkmate. When David was speaking, it felt like checkmate. Even the options remain simple. Either there is a creator, God, or God and faith, or you replace that with something lesser. It remains that simple. We've seen 2 times when the option to affirm the reality of a creator responded with the elevation of human life. We face something that feels like checkmate, that looks total, and yet the option remains the same. What is the origin of your identity? If your identity is the source of evil, your identity, how you're born, if that's the source of evil, then what is the source of your identity? Is it your color, your race, your ethnicity, your culture, the activities of your ancestors, your opinions, your station in life, where you live? Are these your identity? These are what are called secondary identity characteristics. They're secondary. The antidote to this is the same as it's always been. The same as it's always been. Our founders had it. They got it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Your identity is that you are created by God. You're created by God. That's your original identity. Do you want to know who you are? Are you Chinese? Are you Nevadan? Who you are is you're equal, you're free, and you have unalienable rights. That's your identity. That's your primary identity. You're created. Then it applies to you no matter what you look like, no matter what your ancestors did. That is who I am. And you say, oh, that's an interesting identity. You think that you can just say, I'm created, that's where I get my identity from? Yes. Oh, that's very interesting. And then what kind of person does that make you then? It makes me equal to every other person, equal to me. That's one. It makes me free. It gives me inalienable rights. That's what my identity is. And the identity given to God by each person, the primary characteristics of our identity is equality, freedom, and rights. That is the direct and entire antidote to the thoroughgoing relativism of woke ideology that David just described. The possibility of universal equality and universal freedom come from the fact of our being created. This truth will ultimately end woke efforts to divide and pit human beings against one another. The only question is, will we be able to do this in time and to a sufficient degree to save our country and our future?